Either way.
We can't.
All
We can
right.
call it a shower.
We're way off track. We got on this whole thing to talk about 2024, electric vehicles, trends in the industry. And we're going to talk about that stuff, right?
Yeah, we haven't touched on any of it.
We haven't touched on any of it.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Todd with Lot. Talking Lots. Is it Talking Lots, Todd?
It's talking lots. Yes, Eli.
I think this is my favorite intro yet.
This is a good intro. Yeah, dude. Maybe we should just stop here.
No, I love it. I love it.
Maybe it might be the best episode yet.
This is going to be a
We're
good
8
one.
seconds in.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the name of the show?
All right, well, this is Talking Lots with Todd and Eli.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. I have Chris Lambert on our team.
Hello.
As
How
a
are you?
guest here.
I think it's
I'm
with a
wonderful.
B.
Did I say Lambert?
Lambert.
No, it's
You've been saying
P.
it with
It's
P.
Lambert.
He's been putting that
Did I say
Lambert.
Pete?
It's Lambert.
Lambert. All right.
Thank you.
Oh, shoot, man. And I got Mike Aceti.
Or just Aceti is good. So
I
we're
do
cool.
just call you Aceti.
Don't have to use the mic.
No, I guess not.
All right.
I guess
Aceti.
Learn
Like
something
that.
new every day.
Absolutely. So what's happening?
What's going on? Well, you fine gentlemen just flew in, or did you drive, Chris? Are you in the office?
I did drive in. I was scared of the snow.
Scared of the snow. I would be more scared to drive across the state.
Well, I saw the door blow off the plane, and I canceled my flight. And
Yeah,
decided to
How
just drive.
about that?
dude.
Crazy.
That was not. Nobody got hurt. Nope.
Some kid lost his shirt and some luggage or something.
we didn't
Went
lose
out.
the kid.
They didn't lose the kid. They
So a
saved
couple
the kid.
carry-ons and some kid lost his shirt, and that's it.
Well, we heard it was a Bill shirt that flew out the
It
plane.
was a
and
Bill
that's,
shirt. Hold on,
yeah.
we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
Wear
that.
your
Okay.
seatbelts. Wear your seatbelts.
Well, that's why you got to wear the seatbelt. Absolutely. And they were in takeoff, so everybody still had their seatbelt on. They weren't walking around.
I guess so. I don't know.
That's not. I just heard the story a few minutes ago before we came in here. So
Have you
this is
seen the video?
fascinating.
Have you seen the video?
No.
So look at you got to watch the video. It's nuts. Like,
Okay.
it's like, I feel like everyone's calm too. Everyone's like calm on the plane. They're
I-
like, yep,
calmer
our
than
door just
I'd
flew
be.
off.
Yeah.
I would not be calm.
No,
Man, that's nuts. That's never happened before.
not that I'm aware of.
Just a door flies off mid-flight. Yeah. Well, I can understand why you would drive up here, Chris, after seeing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Glad to be here, for sure.
Good to have you.
Glad to have you.
I did hear the two people that were supposed to sit there missed their flight that morning. So
For real?
yeah,
They probably
you
would've-
can't- I guess you can't believe everything you see or read on the internet, but that's what I heard on
can't?
the interwebs.
I thought
Okay.
you can't bleed?
I think they leave those two seats are always left open kind of till the end as well. Sometimes you can't book them online like those exit row seats because they're saving them like if crew is getting on or whatever. All right, so who cares? All right, we're way down a rabbit hole that nobody gives a shit about. Crap. Sorry, Jesse, you're gonna have to hit that with the horn. Jesse on the ones and twos over here, by the way, doing a phenomenal job. David Robinson jersey on. So let's talk about the Super Bowl. We're recording this. We are right after the end of the regular season for the NFL, and the playoff settings are, or the playoff seedings are set, right? Clearly, we can see we got some favorites picked over here. Mike, that was an exciting one last night with the Bills beating the Dolphins to get
in Miami.
4-time AFC East champs in a row here.
That's have they done anything else 4 times in a row?
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm actually
That was
I'm
a good
Bills
one.
fan
That was a
right
good
now.
one. That was a good
Not bad. You set it up. That was too easy. Well, so they're the 2 seed?
They are the 2 seed. They host the hometown Pittsburgh Steelers next week at 1 o'clock.
That's about
So, yeah.
I
this
have
will
a
be fun.
feeling that the Steelers are going to get steamrolled. I really do, and I hate to say that.
Well, I guess it all depends on TJ Watt. If TJ Watt is not playing, which is what we hear, then I don't think the Steelers have a chance. But then again, that's why they play the game, right? They're all NFL players. They all go to D1 colleges. They are all the best of the best. So it
Right
should
on.
still play. It should still be a game. And Pittsburgh, if they can keep it close like they always do, they could possibly win. I mean, that's how they win all their games this year. It's like they keep it close. Second half, they're still within 7, 10 points, and somehow, some way, they pull it off. I do feel bad for Kenny Pickett, though. I mean, I feel like he played the whole year for him, and then they're going with the hot hand here, and it's just feel for him. So
Is
I know
he
he's-
healthy again?
Yeah,
Sports.
Pick it is, yeah. And they're going to stick with Rudolph.
and they're going to stick with Mason Rudolph. Yep,
Interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah,
But we got Josh. The Bills have Josh Allen.
you do.
And
He hates holding onto the football, huh? Just hates it.
He's got to get rid of it. He's got that rocket arm. It's burning in his hand. He's got to get rid
or
of it.
fumble it or something. I mean, it's just, it was so frustrating watching because I was rooting for the Bills last night. I'm a Patriots fan, right? I no longer have a dog in the fight. We got eliminated week 2, I think, this year. But I hate the Dolphins.
It was week 3.
I always had respect for the Bills. I hate the Dolphins. So I was rooting for the Bills last night. And they're in the red zone 2 times in a row, right? And just turn the ball over. You're like, this is so frustrating. So I can only imagine your level of frustration with them.
Yeah, I was in a hotel room watching a game, and there was a lot of bad words said at that TV. So
That only the TV could hear.
it's only the people in the room next. I'm sure they heard me. I'm
Yeah, yeah.
positive they heard me.
So they're a 2 seed.
They're the 2 seed.
They're the 2 seed. All right. So Chris, San Fran. I mean, you can see
Yeah,
the
let's-
beautiful art behind these guys. By the way, I
Beautiful
want to
art.
give a plug. VC2, Vinny, our guy. He does
for that.
incredible paintings like this.
Amazing. I have two.
Amazing.
I have 2 of them from last
You
year.
got 2. So you got the Packers and what else you have?
I have a Vikings one from last year. I don't remember the exact player that's in it.
I think
Okay.
it's Justin Jefferson now.
I think it was.
I think it was,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And then Christian Watson from the Packers.
And Watson. Yeah. Those are cool.
Yeah, very cool. Like amazing paintings. Like everything that dude does.
Looks
Like,
great. We got
Yeah.
Debo back there, right? Debo?
Yep.
2 of the best behind us there, Debo and Steph Diggs.
So Chris, born on Long Island.
You have,
You
to,
li-
say,
you
you
live-
have to say it the right way, though, if you're going to
Long
say it.
Island?
It's Long Island.
Born on Long Island.
Yes. Yes.
You live down in the Del Mar
the
Peninsula.
Delmarva Peninsula, I think.
So
which-
naturally, you're a 49ers fan.
correct.
How did this
That-
happen?
That makes perfect sense.
How did this happen?
It's a very long story. Anybody that knows me is tired of the story, quite honestly, but you haven't heard it, so I'll tell it to you. My uncle was a broker in San Francisco back in the 70s. He would send me 49er footy pajamas. He would send me Joe Montana jerseys, and I would get that for Christmas as a gift.
Really?
I started wearing it. This is when the Steelers were in there prominent. Super Bowl era Steelers back then. Everybody rooted for the Steelers, even New Yorkers did. But I became a 49ers fan. I'm in Polaroid pictures, which is, now I'm dating myself.
Are you 63?
Horse, yeah. I look good for 63.
Man.
But, Polaroid pictures of me in footy pajamas, and I just became a Niners fan. And fast forward, I'm in middle school, and Montana is going to go face Marino in the Super Bowl. And everybody thought Marino was going to pull it off. I think he had Duper and Clayton to throw
Magic
to.
markers, baby.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they were good.
and the Niners won. That was it. Fast forward, and how Steve Young and Jeff Garcia, and now Brock Purdy, which I know a lot of people don't think he's the real deal, but he just set a
think he's the real
49ers
deal?
record.
Yeah.
Over Garcia and Steve Young, most yards, most pass attempts.
I think he's better than Jeff Garcia. So
Thank you, thank you, Aceti.
That is the ultimate compliment.
It is. I think.
Jeff Garcia, the 114th best quarterback of all time.
I thought Garcia was good for a little
No,
while
he was
there.
pretty good. He was, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked him.
yeah, so it's Jay
So
Fiedler.
fast forward Niners
Right.
and good year. We're the number 1 seed. I think we're going to get it done finally this year. Maybe we'll play the Bills.
I do think it'll be a Bills San Fran Super Bowl.
I was
so
just about to ask you, Aceti. What is your prediction?
That's
here?
my prediction.
And-
Buffalo Bills versus the. I mean, the Bills are the 2 seed. They're them the 1 seed. So it's not like it's out. It's not like 2 long shots. These are 2 of the favorites, and they're both clicking at the right time. I mean, Buffalo didn't play that good middle of the season. San Fran had a couple of
Hiccups.
hiccups in the middle
Yeah.
of the season, and they're both clicking come playoff time. So
Yeah.
You play the Cleveland Browns, that's going to happen to you. You're going to have a hiccup against that defense, but really excited. They pulled it back together. And I don't know if everybody knows, we have a bet. Aceti has to get a Brock Purdy tattoo if he loses.
I missed that part.
Is Aceti
but
just hearing about this bet?
I missed
I'm
that
kidding.
part.
We don't
I
have a
missed that
bet.
part.
We will have a bet, though, right? At some point?
We could do something.
Man.
Yeah.
I'm
If
up
they
for
get to the
something.
bowl.
If they
Correct.
get to the Super
Correct.
Bowl, I'm up for
I
something.
mean, what if the Packers get in their way? Is there a chance?
They're-
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, I love the Packers. I do. I always have. I grew up in Wisconsin. Right?
Yep.
I was an Aaron Rodgers. I was a Brett Favre fan first
yeah.
of all. And then I was an Aaron Rodgers fan. And in recent years, I've kind of become much less Aaron Rodgers fan.
Yeah.
But man, I really like. I don't remember who I was talking to this morning, but I've been watching Love this whole year, and like that dude is cool, calm, and collected,
Absolutely.
and like nothing phases him.
It looks
Big-
great.
he had a
big,
huge
like,
year, too. Kind of
huge-
quietly had a huge year.
That's what I'm saying. Like, big play happens. He's like, he gets excited, but he doesn't go over the top.
Mm-hmm.
Something terrible happens. He's like, all right. Like, normally you see the expression on the quarterbacks. Like, something crazy happens, and, like, you can see all the emotions. And he's just like, calm, cool, and collected. And I think that's huge when it comes to being a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're essentially leading that team.
Yeah, I wasn't a Love fan early in the season. He won me over. He's just totally calm, cool, collected. He figured something out. I don't know what he did, but something clicked.
I love it, dude. I love it. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know. I don't see the Packers in the Super Bowl, but
No,
I
it's
would
weird.
love-
They're a young team for the first time in a long time, so they'll get there.
In the next few years, though, like you could see some cool magic happen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
I like it. What are your thoughts, TG?
I'm with these guys. I think the Bills are getting hot at the right time. I think the AFC's in a down year in particular. Anyhow, KC's not all that good. The Ravens are really good, but you can figure them out. They're kind of one-dimensional. You know, I mean, if you can find, like, Belichick used to be really good at that. He's still really good at it, by the way. He's still the best in the world at shutting down their best player, specifically a quarterback.
2 wins.
Lamar's just such a dynamic player. It's a little bit harder, but if someone could figure out that secret sauce, and I feel like the Bills can put up points on anybody. So, and then San Fran's just far and away the best team in the league right now.
We'll see. The bye could hurt them. We'll find out. They've had a bye and a half. I mean, last week was not really playing for anything.
Yeah,
but
they sat
yeah.
most of their players.
We'll see.
Right?
I'm excited
Is
about it.
McCaffrey, is he healthy?
He had a torn calf, not to give the injury report here, but he had a torn calf, and he was just resting. He's fine. He could have played if he had
All right,
to.
so he'll be back for the playoffs.
He'll be 100%. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I love talking about this because obviously the playoffs haven't even happened yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really excited to watch this post Super Bowl and say, yep, we were all very wrong.
Sports.
The only
Sports, man.
the spoiler I could see in there is the
Sportsman.
Rams.
Okay.
Dude, the Rams have an unbelievable offense. And I'm not going to remember the kid's name. They've got a young running back. I happened to catch they were on like the Sunday night game or a Monday night game a few weeks ago and watching them. They were explosive. That's a sleeper. You can take that one to the bank. DraftKings. Not really. Don't bet on it. Don't bet on it. I've lost a lot of money. But no, for real. That's the only other team I could see making some noise over there. Phillies, I don't know. They fell apart.
They fell apart, yeah.
Who else do we got in the NFC? That's the Packers. This isn't their year.
Yeah.
I think
Dallas.
The
I think
Lions.
the Cowboys are
Dallas.
still deadly.
Dallas.
They are.
Dallas.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cowboys definitely.
What I thought of when you were talking about Love, there is so many good young quarterbacks in the NFL. And I used to think a couple years ago it was just the AFC with Burrow and Allen and Tuigalova, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
But now looking at the NFC too, Brock Purdy's young, Love's young, the Chicago quarterback's young. And, I mean, the NFL is just tons of young quarterback talent right now. So it's good for us, the fans.
The kid from Houston, too.
Yeah, C.J.
Stroud.
C.J.
Holy
Stroud.
God,
and all
dude,
those-
he's
Stroud's
yeah,
amazing.
so-
He's so fun to watch,
Yeah.
too, man. Plays the game, like, the right way. You know, he's just such a, I don't know. He's a phenom. I like him a lot. Who do you think deserves, like, out of all the teams, I've got my own opinion here, so it's kind of a loaded question, but who would you love to see if you didn't have a dog in the fight, like, of all the teams that are there now?
What do you think, Aceti?
If it wasn't the Bills, I'd say Detroit. I mean, the Lions, or the Cleveland Browns. But those two teams are just been the basement dwellers of the NFL for
Right? Wouldn't it be a feel-good story, though?
Yeah, for
It
both
would-
of
it
them,
would be
right? The
amazing.
Wouldn't it be
cities-
amazing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both those cities would just, I'm sure, would go absolutely nuts for their teams if they won. They're both
Yeah.
big sports towns. I mean, Cleveland's a huge sports town. Detroit's a huge sports town. So
Yeah.
one of those two teams.
Yeah, if the 49ers weren't in it, I would totally root for Detroit, Cleveland. I mean, those two cities would go crazy.
Not Buffalo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Not
What do you
Buffalo.
think, Eli?
I would be a traitor to say Detroit.
I just want to say point out
that's
one
true,
other
in the
thing.
division.
Yeah, I can't
I
say
root for
Detroit.
the Bills, so who am I?
Yeah. I just said that, I don't see them in the Super Bowl, but I would, and I know I'm a Packer fan, like, from when I was really young, but I think I would love to see the Packers in the Super Bowl. And I do think that, like, it's a young team, like, it would be incredible, like, if they made it. I
Yeah.
really do. And I think that they've been playing, like, really well over the past handful of weeks, so I think, yeah, I'd say the Packers.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Cleveland, Detroit is what I was thinking as well. Like two blue-collar,
Yeah, blue-collar.
Americana cities that have
Agreed.
never gotten there. That would be an amazing matchup where everybody wins. Doesn't matter who wins. Everybody wins. The
Agreed.
country wins. It would unite us, Chris.
Although I want to point out that Buffalo is the only New York team.
Yeah, for
growing
sure.
growing up in New York, you have the Jets and the Giants. They play in Jersey.
Jersey.
Yeah.
I don't know what exit, but they play in Jersey, and then the Bills.
Buffalo,
the
New
only
York.
real
But
New
they
York
are
team.
they're a New York team.
Yeah,
You know, I
Colors
mean,
are beautiful, red, white, and blue.
right. It's America.
no. But I'm saying the Jets and
America.
the Giants are in New York. They're called New York. New
Yeah,
York
but
Jets.
Yeah,
But they
yeah.
don't
New
even
York
play
has
in New York.
87 professional sports teams, and only the Yankees ever win.
Correct.
Like, how'd you manage that? It's way too many teams for how many banners are hanging.
It's good when you're
around
a
that
Yankees
city.
fan, though. You know, it's
I'm a Yankees fan.
no.
am.
You're definitely not a Yankees fan.
No. Oh, because you are. Yeah,
I
yeah.
am.
I
I
think-
I have a question that would unite everybody in the NFL. Belichick.
Yes.
Does he stay or does he go? They get rid of
Oh.
him or does he?
I think he stays.
He stays?
I think it's just a bunch of
Oh,
crap
really?
talk going around. 100%. Like, who are you going to replace him with?
I don't know. Oh,
Who's better? Okay,
Tennessee coach. Who's that?
Mike Vrabel.
Vrabel.
Yeah, I've heard rumors
Yeah, because
about
Mike
that.
Vrabel's got 6 rings. I mean, like, what are we talking about here? He's the greatest
that's
coach
true.
that ever lived. You're going to go out, like, yeah, no, he's just past his prime. The game's past. Football hasn't changed that much
No.
in the last 20 years. Like,
No.
it's ridiculous. I mean, Boston sports radio is like the best and the worst. So people, they just get this ginned up. They get everybody talking about it. I mean, if he's going to leave, he's going to leave on his own terms. But who again, I just don't know who the heck would replace him.
I really like to talk crap, but I agree with you. I love just to like take that screwdriver and just turn it right,
Yep.
and talk all that crap on Bill Belichick. But at the end of the day, he is a great coach.
He's the greatest ever.
To win, I mean, I guess you have down years, right? Like every once in a while. I mean, it happens.
Yeah,
you know?
everybody's spoiled.
Shoot.
Everybody in Boston's so spoiled. They're like, well, we're just not winning. Like,
You're
Red Sox
spoiled,
didn't
Todd.
win for like, I think it was 86 years or something. They didn't fire the coach every single year for 86 years. We didn't have 86 different coaches. Just is what it is. I mean, you gotta run it out. So now we get the draft. We're gonna be picking number 3. I think if you get like Marvin Harrison and then pick up a good quarterback a little later on, Marvin Harrison, stud O lineman, get a quarterback in the 2nd or 3rd round, rebuild a little bit. That defense was phenomenal. The defense was really
Maybe
good
it
this
was
year.
strategic.
Could have been. You're saying they threw it?
I'm saying, dude, they just lost all these games strategically to get the round picks. Who knows?
Because the man
I'm
is a
just throwing
mastermind.
Just saying.
I don't know. I love it. I mean, what he did for the city. I mean, he's been so mean to the reporters for so long, though. It's been, 23 years, I think he's been there. And he's like rude to the reporters at the press conferences and stuff. So they all get an axe to grind with him. They were all salivating, too, once he started losing. They're like, all right, here we go. Because he would just shut them down with like a snarky comment after the game. That old, we're on to Cincinnati or whatever he would say. And they'd just be like, all right, we're going to take it. And then once he started losing, they're like, no, we're not taking that. We want, they started digging in on him. So I think Belichick's here next year. I think we have a good draft.
You can't
I think
see
it's 2
Bill
years
going
before we get
to
again.
maybe San Diego? Not San Diego. L.A. Chargers?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't see him leaving, so I really haven't thought that far down the road. If he left, what's a good spot for him? Maybe. I don't think he'd go to Carolina. That guy that owns that team is just wacky. Maybe
Yeah.
Atlanta. Maybe he could go to Atlanta.
Does he take his kids with him too?
I would think so. Well, I mean, that's part of his legacy, right?
How cool is that?
Steve, anyhow.
How,
yeah.
how cool is that to be a dad and your 2 kids are NFL coaches with you every day? Like that doesn't. I mean, obviously you got kids, Todd, and
Yeah.
to be with your kid to do something on the
absolutely.
highest level like that, be NFL coaches is pretty.
My
cool.
kids are all out in the paver right now. We do it the same way. No, you're right though. That's pretty neat.
Yep.
That's again reinventing the game too, because you get these coaching trees, but it's never family, right? So I mean, I guess there's a few. I
Shanahan.
mean, you got Shanahan, you got like the
Yeah.
Harbaughs, but there's not a lot of that out there. So it'd be pretty cool.
What would be classic Belichick is if he fired one of his kids and he stays in New England and gets rid of one of the kids.
True. Well, I wonder if that's in his head too, though, to say, all right, maybe if I can stick this out for 5 more years, one of the kids can take over as the head coach here. That might be part of the thinking.
Could be.
I don't know. He doesn't give you anything. You got to crawl inside that head. So I don't know. But that was a good question.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going from here, Eli? Oh, I know what I wanted to
I was
talk
going to
about.
ask you the same thing.
No, well, we were just talking about city, right? Talking about Detroit, great airport. Cleveland, not a great airport. So we all travel quite a bit. We've been in and out of all these airports. What's the worst airport in the country, Chris? I'm going to start with you because you've got, 30 years or 20 years, maybe 30 years of
I have
flying a
48
lot.
years in the industry. No.
No. No, but I mean, you've been traveling a lot. You've been in the national world for many years.
I probably have 5,000 flights under my belt. It's insane.
Worst airport in the country.
It's not. I got to be careful when I say this because I'm going to bring Atlanta up, and I love the folks in Atlanta.
Oh.
But That airport is horrible.
Okay.
And I think the problem is they have so much traffic flying in and out of that place, so many people flying in and out of the place. I think it's Hartsfield, right? It's just
Hartsfield Jackson.
it's one of the busiest airports in America, and I would much
I
rather
think it
be,
is the busiest. In
It
America,
is, right?
I believe, yeah.
Okay. I'd much rather be in O'Hare or somewhere else. I mean, it's just,
Really?
yeah, I just do not like that airport. I love the people of Atlanta. I want to point that out.
Okay.
But the airport, no bueno.
No bueno.
No bueno on that airport.
You got a favorite?
I hated LaGuardia for many years because it was just kind of like it was like Beirut for a while, and like a third world nation. And I can say that because I'm from New York. So before you give me that look, but I will say the improvements and the millions and billions and gazillions of dollars they pumped into it.
Yeah.
LaGuardia is beautiful now. I mean, you fly Southwest, you fly American, anything. It is great if you ever get a chance to fly in. Did you fly in there recently?
Yeah, I
or
had a
no?
layover there recently. I forget. I don't remember
Okay.
where I was coming back from, but I was in the terminal for about an hour and a half. One of the new ones. I think it's D. I think it's the D terminal.
Yeah, if you get the newer terminal, it's beautiful. It's insane.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a really nice, like a Beverly Hills feel mall, right? With
Yeah.
good restaurants.
There's like
and the
mood
whole
lighting
deal.
when you're sitting down for dinner, and
It's unbelievable.
It's pretty
Yeah,
nice.
you forget you're in New York. That's for sure.
Yeah.
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 I don't know what you meant by
definitely.
that.
I'll tell you what, though, renting a car at LaGuardia, that's taking your life in your own hands.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's off premise and they'll shuttle you over there and then they just drop you off in a parking garage and you're not like, this is
luck.
national.
Good luck.
Like, this
man.
looks like they're fixing the cars. Why? It didn't, yeah, it was very, ask Pat. We got to get we got an 87 Town and Country from LaGuardia. Almost didn't make it back to Boston. That was a long trip. Anyhow, how about you, Aceti?
I'd say Miami is just horrible. I
Least
hate going-
favorite?
I don't like going to the Miami airport. It's pretty congested, and then it's so many different languages. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a lot going on there. Being down there for so long too, I was in South Florida for 20 years, so maybe that has something to do with it. So now whenever I do fly back into Miami, I just don't want to go there. My favorite, I think, was flying into Chicago. The first time I flew into Chicago, I didn't realize how beautiful that was, and it was a morning flight. That place was pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
The airport was okay, but like the scenery going into Chicago was pretty cool. And that
found
was
some common
I
ground here.
remember that.
Good
so.
point.
A little common ground?
Yeah.
Same airport?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. You guys aren't battling about everything.
He's done a lot more traveling than I have. I travel by car more than I do by plane. So
What's the Buffalo airport like?
it's not that nice.
No. It's probably kind of a regional.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's an international.
It's got to be international,
It's
right?
international.
It's
It's
like right
I
there.
think they fly to
International.
Toronto. That's
It's Buffalo
international.
International.
But
I used to
that still
actually.
counts.
That counts, yeah.
There was a direct flight that used to fly directly into Niagara Falls, where I'm from, and that airport's like rinky-dink. There's one terminal, so it's pretty fun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. How about the San Fran airport, Chris?
I think it's pretty good. I give it a B.
Give it a B? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a big one. That's
Yeah,
that's
it's
what I
pretty
remember
nice.
about
Decent. Got the sourdough bowls of anything you want. Chowder,
Okay.
chicken noodle, whatever. Sourdough. I mean, it's
it.
great.
We've done chicken noodle in a sourdough bowl.
Eh,
No, me neither.
Yeah, we got to put that on the
the new
list for
thing,
more.
right?
I don't know if you
yeah.
should put it on the list. It's not that good.
Lunch
but-
tomorrow.
You and I
Yeah.
are flying into San Fran in April, so sourdough bowls.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Wait, we are?
Yeah. Oh, we got a lot to talk about after the show.
Which reminds me,
Stop
I just did a chowder over the weekend. We'll talk about it in maybe another podcast, but
Okay, you want to share the recipe?
nah, well, it was chowder though. It was New England style chowder.
Nice. That's the only chowder. Manhattan is a soup.
No, I love Manhattan too.
Yeah, but it's not a chowder. It's a soup.
It's
It
probably
really.
not.
I mean,
Yeah.
Again, how about you, Eli? You got a favorite, least favorite airport?
Yeah, so I would say my least favorite is actually Orlando.
Okay.
Yeah, so in Orlando, when you fly in or when you get there, you go through security and then you like take a tram. And if you go into the wrong gate section, you have to go back through the tram and then go back through security to get to the right one.
Oh wow.
Like it was terrible, dude. We went through the wrong gate or like to the wrong gate, right?
Yeah.
They've got, gate 1 through 30, 31 through, 60, whatever. And so we went, like, just trying to figure out where we're going. We went to the wrong one. We're like, oh, well, we'll just go through security and then we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Well, we did that along with, like, everyone else that was behind us. And you ask the security guard, you're like, where's gate, 49? He's like, oh, you got to go back through security and go the other way. I'm like, that's
Really?
dumb. So, yeah, it made no sense to me. So that was by far, I don't know. I just think it's the worst.
What a pain in the neck. But was it your fault? Or was it the airport's fault? I mean, did
Technically,
you
it was
screw up?
Technically, it was my fault.
Okay.
But I don't think any airport, like, I don't know. I think there should be a central way to get around once you get through security, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's a multi-billion-dollar issue that maybe there's a reason they didn't do it. But yeah, it was.
Yeah. That airport's always full of screaming bratty kids.
That too. Yeah. Everyone's wearing the Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah.
I want to go out.
It's the best and worst part of America.
This is true. I would say my favorite though, plug to my hometown airport would be Minneapolis.
That is a great
Oh,
one.
That is-
love Minneapolis.
Minneapolis
Yeah.
Airport, MSP. Oh, I didn't realize when I lived in when I lived in that area, I just flew in and out of that airport all the time, and I didn't realize how nice of an airport it was till I flew to other airports.
Okay.
So they even have in Minneapolis, they have like a PGA lounge even.
Yeah. Oh, you were telling me about this.
Yeah, so we went and actually tried it. So you can go rent out golf simulators for whatever it is, $50 an hour.
Great idea.
And you can go putt around on their putting green, and it's a lounge like a standard Delta lounge. You get food, drinks, all the stuff. It's like the same price as a Delta lounge.
Okay.
Like it's crazy. And then they've got all kinds of shops. Literally feels like a little mall inside of it. It's
Wow.
And you go through one security checkpoint. I guess there's two different terminals, but
This is really a problem with you, huh? The security checkpoint.
It's terrible. But you go through.
I mean, Orlando's a third the size of Minneapolis. You
I
think they
know.
could figure it out?
dude. I don't know.
One
Apparently they
checkpoint,
can.
you can go anywhere.
But if you go to Terminal 1 in Minneapolis, it is amazing.
It is. I
Terminal
agree
2
with you.
is okay. It's still nice, but
Hey, Todd, we're starting to see a common theme here with security.
Yeah, I
Right.
think so. I think
But
so.
I do want to agree with you, Eli. It's one of the great. I mean, they have the Caribou Coffee at baggage claim, and but you're right. It's like a total mini mall there.
It's a little mini ball. It's
crazy.
it's great. What's yours?
I
Worst and big.
love Minneapolis. I think that's one of the
Okay.
best. So I'm usually layover. We'll go out to the Wisconsin office and fly in there once a year or something like that too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a great airport. I really judge them based on the lounge, on the Delta lounge. So, like
course you
LAX,
do.
for example, what a great Delta lounge. I mean, it's like exquisite. But then you go outside and it's like Beirut. Really, you just get right out.
So what's-
it is an absolute
I-
disaster. The rest of the airport.
I gotta ask, what's the difference between a really good Delta lounge and a really bad Delta lounge?
Great
what
question.
really differentiates these two?
It's the layout. It's kind of how big it is. Like Minneapolis, they've got an outdoor area. And they're the new one is right over by. I think it's by the F gates, and it's like sprawling private areas. You get work areas over there. Like at LaGuardia, the new one there, you can lock yourself in a little booth. Well, not lock yourself in, but you can go in a soundproof booth if you have to take a call, and they got a little stand for your laptop and stuff. That's great. I've been in some of them that are just kind of crappy. You feel like you're like at a McDonald's, or it's just not the same. So Salt Lake City, love that airport. That's another great one.
It's just tough to get to, especially from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, again, it's usually connections coming out of like Texas or whatever. For me, it seems like everything that doesn't go direct to Boston from the West Coast goes through Salt Lake City.
Really pretty to fly into, though.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it is. And the backdrop when you're sitting in that airport, just the backdrop of the
Yeah.
mountains is spectacular. So, worst airport, it was Kansas City. I was going to Kansas City like 3 years in a row. We had a big project down there, so I had to spend a lot of time in that airport, and it was, I mean, just awful. It was like a real bad strip mall with shitty stores and like one restaurant. There was like anybody that's been through there knows this, and you ever like they'll have 3 gates in an area this big, so you're just sitting next to hundreds of people that are waiting to get on this. It was terrible, but they rebuilt it. They just knocked the thing down. I was out there a few months ago. Gorgeous, brand new. It kind of looks like Minneapolis, small version.
Yeah.
But that big, high ceilings and really pretty. That's a nice one. Philadelphia is god awful, just lousy. You fly out of Philly a lot,
Yeah,
right?
Philadelphia. I mean, and I've lived there 2.5 years. Just recently, it's on the worst, one of the worst lists I've ever seen.
Really?
It's just terrible. And the people
it's
were
just terrible.
People were rude. Like it goes a long way too. If you're in a crappy airport,
could I
at
put
least put a
another-
little effort into the
Put a little
personality.
honorable mention maybe in for. I think Dallas Love
Okay.
is a great airport, only because it was one of the worst. It was like LaGuardia, the same thing. It was one of the worst airports. DFW is way better, but Love is amazing. Restaurants. I'm the kind of guy. I know you go to the lounges, Todd, and you like to be in the lounges, but
Well,
I'm a restaurant guy, and there's a ton of good restaurants there in Love. Love
yeah,
it.
It's
No
not
pun
just any
intended.
lounge.
love it.
It's
No pun
the-
intended. Love it.
It's
Yes.
the Delta Lounge.
The Delta
It's
Lounge.
gotta be. It can't
mean-
be just any lounge.
Listen, you're stuck somewhere for a couple of hours. You want to get some work done. You want to maybe take a shower. I mean, is that just me? Maybe it's
you.
just me. All right. Moving on. I don't know if you call it a shower if you do it in the sink. Either way.
We can.
All
We can
right.
call it a shower.
We're way off track. We're way off track. We got on this whole thing to talk about 2024, electric vehicles, trends in the industry.
We did
And we
not.
are. We're going to talk about that stuff, right?
Yeah, we haven't touched on any of it. up
We haven't
to this
touched
point.
on any of it. Took a hard left turn. It's the damn NFL playoffs. It's so interesting.
Yeah, always
Yeah.
is.
It always is. It always is. But we all
Sports,
got
man.
kind of the same prediction here. We're thinking Bills, Niners, maybe the Packers sneak in. So,
It'd be cool.
yeah. So, again, we're recording this way before we can watch it back in history, historically, see how we do. So, Chris Lambert, heading up our, let's talk about some work stuff here for real. Heading up our electric vehicle, the TPG Mobility. You were on the podcast recently talking about sort of your new role and what this new venture means for the company. I want to talk a little bit about what you see for changes. What's going to be different opportunities, struggles this year in that marketplace? It's an election year. Again, the world's just a little different right now. I mean, do you think if a Republican or Trump, Trump's a Republican, but gets into the Oval Office, it's going to mean a different outlook for EV for that arena?
I mean, definitely yes. The answer is yes. To answer the first part of the question, I don't think anybody knows what's going to happen in the EV space going forward, but it's kind of the Wild West. We see companies being absorbed into other companies. We see companies going out of business. We see OEM charging companies, pivoting and trying new things. So, I mean, I have 2-3 calls a week talking with some of these OEMs, and it is interesting where the space is headed. What I can tell you is this, going forward from a political standpoint, if we do have a change of presidency and it happens to be Trump and gas gets cheaper, I think long term that could change how that looks, how EV infrastructure looks. But I just feel like we're so far down the line at this point, and there's so many Americans that truly want to have an electric, a greener option than, say, fossil fuel. So am I going to, are we going to have, 9 out of 10 cars be electric? No, that's going to take some time. But I do think in 2020...
How many are on the road right now? A ballpark.
I would say we're getting to the point where it's 2 or 3 out of 10 that are, I think we're now up to 3 cars out of 10 are electric.
Okay.
We got 25% in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
20% if you include Jesse.
There you go. There you go. So, and I think we have a Tesla owner here. We have a Mustang Mach-E owner here. So there's, I do believe it's viable. The fact that we're going to have EV all over the country, but it's going to take some time. Yeah, you have to build infrastructure out no different than rails or freight or anything else that you're going to do. So it's going to take a little bit of time, but we're definitely in it. We're right in the middle of it. It's a renaissance. I think it's great. I think it's good for the country. I know there's a lot of people probably that listen to this podcast and say, I'm not so sure about that. You're always going to have a lot of folks think that we should just be in gasoline engine cars and just call it a day. That we're one of the largest producers of oil. We've just chosen not to do that.
Yeah.
And I do agree on a lot of that. But I do feel, I'm kind of a conservative guy, but I'm also a tree hugger. So I think you can't pollute the environment, and you got to start doing the right things by the environment, and the earth will eventually shake us off one day and we'll be gone. So I do think we need to do some of these things, and I'm kind of caught in the middle where I do think it's necessary. I do think half the country definitely wants it. And there's a good part of the country that says, hey, we don't need this. Let's get back to $2 a gallon gas. So it's a very interesting topic. It's heated depending on who you talk to about it. But I think...
What kind of dent is that? Let's say we get back to $2 a gallon for gas.
Yeah.
I mean, the machine's moving, right? The assembly line is pumping out vehicles.
Yeah.
The infrastructure needs to happen.
Correct. This is a choice thing now. This is no longer, if we do get back to $2 a gallon, like, will it change? It's not going to change. Volvo's already committed. I think in 3 years from now, they're not going to produce any, cars with gasoline engines. Right now, they have the mild hybrids where they're plug-in hybrids. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll see more of that, but they're still going to be plug-in. They're still going to need to be charged. So there's always going to be a need, but there's a huge need for it right now.
I think as these cars become cheaper and more affordable for people too, if you're, let's say you're buying a $25,000 car, like most people can buy a $25,000 car, right?
Correct.
And so, right now, I don't know the average cost of EVs, but like I know they're a lot more expensive than that, right? Like they're maybe on average 35, 40 grand plus. And,
Correct.
A couple years ago, you were looking at 50, 60,000, and like the average person can't afford to buy a $50,000 or $60,000 car. So as they become, into the 20s, and I think now you can probably buy certain EV vehicles at that price point, like more people are gonna switch over.
Agreed.
Overall, it is cheaper, especially if you plug it into your house. I plug my car into my house, and the overall cost difference between gas into my car, it's like it doesn't even equate. Now, if I were to plug it into a supercharger, like that's a little bit different. It's maybe a little more expensive there.
Sure.
And not a little more expensive than gas, but just more expensive than plugging it into my house. But overall, if you're looking at a cost basis, and you can get an EV car, a nice new EV car for 25 grand, if they get down to that price point, I bet a lot more people will end up adopting that.
Yes, speaking to that point, remember when you had 50, 60-inch televisions, they were $10,000 for a TV, and through production and over time, you get down to $800 for a TV of that size, and then, $500 now for that TV. So I think economies of scale and production, that'll bring all of that cost down. I do think there are for-profit models out there for charging. So when you do leave your house, you might pay 30 cents a kilowatt. It starts to get a little more expensive. It starts to be in line with gasoline prices at that point as well. And then keep in mind, you're charging at home during off-peak hours, probably at night, off your utility right there locally. So that's the most beneficial way to charge the car. But it's about delivery. I think energy delivery. When you're on the road, the last thing a couple or a family wants to do is stop. We talk about like having the Conestoga wagons where you got to plan your trip out. No, I want to stop, charge, and go and keep going again. So I think the 150 kilowatt options that are out there now, and we're going to have faster charging. They say by the end of the year as well. So it's definitely a renaissance. It's headed in the right direction. It's not going away. And for us as a company, it's a great thing. It's a perfect fit for us.
What's the biggest barrier getting to like 600, 800 mile batteries?
It's cost. A lot of folks feel when you start, going in that direction, it's not very environmentally friendly.
Okay.
But, you do want to have that extended battery on any car that you get. If I was buying a car today, if it didn't have an extended battery, I wouldn't even buy it. Even if I was going locally, you never know where you might want to travel. Always better to get the extended battery in any car that you purchase. But I just think there's a lot of environmental issues where now is it environmentally friendly to produce a battery of that size? But they're getting better at that as well. There's new means and new methods. I heard they're making batteries out of wood. They're using wood to store it, not lithium, and there's a lot of weird stuff that we talked about ammonia engines on the last podcast.
Yeah.
That Toyota just doesn't even. They're going to produce an ammonia engine.
They're kind of skipping right over the electric thing.
Correct. The CEO of that company thinks that that's EV's not the way to go. So even though they have the Prius, it's an interesting time to be alive. I think if you like automobiles, which I think most guys like automobiles in one way or another, I think it's a great time to be alive.
I can't wait to see the Cybertruck all over the roads of the United States. They're starting to come out to all the celebrities now, but like that thing just looks ridiculously.
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have they rolled some of those out?
Yeah. I think Pharrell, is that? I don't know. The rapper, songwriter, musician. I think
not Will.
No, not him.
I was thinking Will
Farrell. Farrell Williams?
Williams.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Not Will
Yeah.
Ferrell.
But
Not Will Ferrell.
Yeah, I guess he was in California with one recently. They had pictures of him, but I can't imagine like driving around Pittsburgh, seeing all the Cybertrucks driving around. Like it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
They're building them. He's selling them. It's
for
gonna
sure.
happen. So I don't think it's gonna slow up at all. Like I don't think whoever's in office that's the way everybody's going. Not just here in the United States. It's a worldwide thing, right? So it's not just. I think that's the way that moving forward, that's what people want. Like, and if you drive a Tesla, you would think differently about those cars. Like, I rented one because they're fun. Like, it's a fun vehicle to jump in and.
That's the other part of it that it doesn't get talked about enough is the performance.
Dude.
Right? They are fun to drive.
Yeah.
And then also the maintenance part of it, right? You get a battery and some tires, more or less, to maintain.
Yeah.
So I'll never have to. I'll never have to go get an oil change. I'll never have to there's so many things that
Yeah, cost ownership.
in a standard combustion engine car, like you have to change.
Yeah, there's
belts, you
regenerative
gotta-
braking, so
Yeah, like
your
my-
brake pads are 80,000 miles.
I hardly ever use my brakes anymore. Yeah,
Right.
like I literally like car just slows down from the regenerative braking now, and I'll never have to. Really, I'll never have to. Shouldn't say never, but I will very rarely have to go change brake pads. You know, all the maintenance things that come with a standard combustion engine car, like I don't have to do any of that anymore, and I just have to worry about really tires and
Yeah. Yeah, that's another
batteries,
aspect of it.
maybe. But my batteries are, you know, they have such a big warranty. It's like,
And if we get, you know, if we're able to save the planet on top of it, great.
I agree.
You know, you
I
get hit
agree.
by an asteroid some point anyhow. So, but if you get a fast car, you might be able to outrun
might
an
be able to
asteroid.
outrun
Is that
it.
what we're talking about here?
zoom, zoom.
Yeah, you might be able to just beat it to the other side of the earth. But
And in another 50 years, there might be something else, right? There might be another new thing that's, you know, they got making cars off of something else. So
absolutely,
Lion
don't
or
you? I mean, I'm sure they've thought of this, but really, like in the history of humans, this is a whole different topic. But like, it feels like what else could we really invent at this point? Like, I feel like we're at that tipping point. And you think other civilizations have gotten here, then got wiped off the earth, and they had to start over again?
yes.
Probably.
Yes,
Why do you say that?
I mean, just the some of the stuff that you're finding over in like the pyramids and stuff like that. Think about the pyramids. Like, how did they build that? Like, it's crazy to think about. And I mean, we're here in what 80 to 100 years if we're lucky. I mean, this world is just going to keep spinning and spinning, billions and billions of years. So yeah, more stuff is going to get invented, and we're going to continue to evolve. And it's not going to be electric cars. It'll probably be something else in 20 years. Like, I mean, think about the phone.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But we're
But
going to keep
if you
evolving.
look at history, like again, there was like that sort of makes sense that everything's gone really fast and some of that stuff like the microchip and semiconductors, that sort of things got figured out. Because before that, again, there was really it was a steam engine and I don't know, there was an axe, right? And
They
fire.
had wheels.
like
Todd,
those
they had
big
wheels.
gaps. They had
Wheels.
wheels. But now all of a sudden, a few things got figured out in our lifetime that have really put the rest of this technology and this rest of this innovation on like hyperdrive. So there's all these things. So like robots and all that, you know, the AI, like that all sort of makes sense. But it's like beyond that, what's left? I wonder if people figured out like how to fly in previous civilizations.
Superman?
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I want to do.
I always thought that when I was a kid, by the time I'd be, obviously, when you're old enough to 30s, 40s, I'd be flying by now instead of driving, but
Yeah.
that hasn't happened.
We're almost there though. Yeah, I mean, you see these new piloted. I think they're like almost like drones, but they're like giant drones that you can get inside now and you can fly away. I don't know if you guys have seen that stuff.
No.
Picture a drone that you can get in. It's big enough that you can just get inside of it. Fits 2 people, and you can take off. It's like the Jetsons. Like no more cars. You can just kind of go where you want and land.
I think the tough part with that is just, you know, making it available to everyone, right? Like it's like when electric cars first came out. It's like, you know, they're super expensive to make, and it was only select, you know, handful of people that really had them.
Correct.
And then, you know, you give it 10 years of innovation, and you know, now we're to the point where, like, okay, you can actually buy an electric car for a relative cost that, you know, a lot of people can pay. So for like something like that, like who knows how far out that is, right? Like I'm sure there are electric cars way before even, you know, Tesla, and I don't know the history of electric cars, but I'm sure there were electric cars even way back when, right?
Like prototypes.
Yeah, like prototypes that people would make, right? That really could have been adopted and innovated, but like something like that, like who knows? Who knows?
Well,
how
Back to the
far out?
Future, that DeLorean ultimately was an electric car. You know, I mean, it was plutonium, but remember they had to use the,
Yeah.
use the electric from the lightning.
Based on a true
to
story,
get
right?
back to the future.
Based on a true story?
It's loosely based on a true story, I believe. I believe it was, yeah. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, there probably has been. I don't know. I think about though flying, like if it becomes affordable, like to have jetpacks. Imagine like Manhattan. I mean, there's so many stupid people in this world. I count myself as one of them, by the
Yeah,
way.
they just fly into
But
windows
just
like birds.
like, it's just going to be accidents all over the place in the air. Like, how do you map out like lanes and I don't know, man. It's
There
too
are
much
no
to
lanes.
think about.
There are no lanes. You know, speaking of flying, and this is very much a left field thing. So when they built the Viking Stadium, I'm just kind of tying all this together, everything we're
Okay.
talking about.
The most, like the new one?
Yeah. So when they built it, so it's an incredible stadium. Angel and I went to a game a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
The Lions and Vikings game. Yeah, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. Just absolutely phenomenal stadium. It looks like a giant spaceship. Have you guys seen it?
Yeah.
So it
I've
looks.
just seen it from the highway.
Yeah,
but-
so it looks like a giant spaceship. So it's glass around the entire stadium, right? And when they first built it, they had birds flying into the glass because they didn't think about the reflection of birds. Seriously, they didn't think about the reflection of like birds couldn't see that wasn't a building.
Yeah.
So they just had birds like like just flying into the glass. So I don't know what they did, but they had maybe like tint the windows or something. But like the entire stadium, they had to like revamp it so that
Wow.
bird stuff. Yeah, it was like the first year of it. They just had birds everywhere on the ground because they kept flying into it.
Yeah.
That would have been a nice contract to get the tent after the
Right?
fact.
That's a lot of
The
tint.
change order.
That's a lot of tint. Another quick thing about the Vikings in that stadium, they actually paid that stadium off already.
Really?
Yeah, like and saved the taxpayer. Like I don't know the dollar amount, but it's like hundreds of millions. Of
I didn't know
dollars.
that.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
And I know my wife's gonna watch this. She's gonna go, "You're a Vikings fan?" No, not a Vikings fan.
You're a
just think-
fan of the way they do business.
I'm a fan of the way they do business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing, I think, with these teams. Like, you don't have to be a Patriots fan. A lot of people hate the Patriots, but you got to really respect the way they built that team, the way Bob Kraft does business. You know, another plug for him.
We don't have to respect that, Todd.
Well, I mean, if common sense
I'm
business
joking,
practices. A
joking.
lot of that's how we
Yeah.
built the
Be a good person.
absolute empire over there.
That's it.
Just be a good.
And by the way, I don't know if we're going to edit this down a little bit, but can we stay with the Minnesota Vikings for a second? So I was at the old stadium where it was
Toilet bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you see all those giant speakers up there. Those things weigh like 5-10 tons, all that equipment that's up there. And it's because of the pressure that was the dome. They put pressure in the dome. So it supports. We talk about how does a boat float that's made of steel.
Yeah.
Same thing. How does those speakers stay up there? I have no idea how those speakers stay up there. But
Physics.
when you go to walk out of the
But they put pressure because it's a sealed building. and it's
Correct.
Pulling the.
In fact, when you go to walk out of the
Interesting.
stadium, you feel like you're being blown by air because there's so much pressure leaving when everybody's leaving the stadium.
Crazy.
It's a weird thing.
That's super interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why it is no more, right?
Dude, that
Probably
it,
why.
it collapsed.
I
Yeah, it was
know.
like 2010 or 11 or something.
Oh, right, from snow or something.
Yeah,
snow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch of snow piled on the roof, and
And they turn the speakers on and
they turned the pressure off. It's oops.
Well, to wrap up this buckshot all over the place podcast that we had, which was a lot of fun, by the way. So is that your favorite stadium? Let's go favorite stadiums because we did airports, we did teams.
So I haven't been to a lot, to be honest. I've been to the Vikings. I was at the old Vikings stadium, the Toilet Bowl, Metrodome. I haven't been to actually a Packer game, but I've toured the stadium. Been to the Steelers. Might be one other. I would say the Vikings is probably my favorite stadium. It's super cool, and the roof opens too. So
Yeah.
like if it's a really nice day out, they can open the roof. Like it's
Yeah, that is cool.
super cool stadium. Would highly
That's neat.
recommend.
Very cool. Chris?
I'm going to get
I
destroyed.
mean, any sport. Doesn't have to be
I know.
football,
I'm
by
going to
the
get
way.
destroyed from this answer, but it's the truth. So I'm going to give an honest answer here.
Oh, hold on.
I'm
Sweet
I'm a-
Caroline. I know what you're going to say.
No, I'm a lifelong Yankees fan, and I got to tell you, I've gone to see Pearl Jam multiple times at Fenway Park. I've even saw a baseball game. Fenway Park is a gem. It's between Fenway and Wrigley Field in Chicago, which
Yeah.
my dog is named after, Wrigley. So it's those two stadiums are great. Period. End of story.
Something about it. There is something about Fenway. Aceti?
I'm going to go with Hard Rock Stadium in Miami.
Oh, yeah?
For two reasons.
Terrible airport, great stadium.
One, because we built like half the parking lot a few years back.
okay.
Tony Grout and myself did a bunch of work there and did like I think half of the parking lot, which was a pretty big job for us at the time. And the second reason is the Buffalo Bills seem to celebrate there a lot, so it's fun.
I love it. Oh, that's great. I'm a Wrigley guy. So Fenway, obviously. Fenway's just different. It's like
Fenway's
a museum,
great.
You know, it's not even comfortable.
No.
You know, the food's not good. Like, there's nothing super redeeming about it other than how
the
charming it
OG
is. Yeah, and
stadium.
it just sits on the street corner in the Fenway section of Boston. Like, it's so unique.
It is cool. We were there during COVID with you.
Yeah.
We drove the pavement group truck past.
That's right.
Yeah, we took some drone footage.
We flew a drone over it because nobody was out.
Dude,
And
yeah.
then security came out. He's like, "What are you doing?"
At the
just
Pat
flying a
Stadium,
drone.
though.
Like, I don't
At the
know.
Pat Stadium, we got yelled at for that.
They chased- yeah, they did chase
Like,
you.
I don't know.
out
What are we
there.
doing?
But Wrigley's the other one too. Wrigley's
Yeah.
just so timeless.
I thought Wrigley
It's
had a
such
better,
unique place.
Wrigleyville was better, but Fenway's gotten better with that too. Everything around the
Yeah,
stadium.
Wrigleyville, I think, is better. I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
Fenway's almost too, like, the area around it's almost too modern now, like the way that they've built it up. I mean, they had to. You know, you got to change with the times, but it's almost a little too squeaky. you
As
know,
a Yankee
too
fan,
clean.
I've never been there, but I feel like I have to go sometime within the near future. So
Yeah, you got to come up this year.
sounds like a plan. Bring my golf clubs.
Bring the clubs, absolutely.
Just keep your Bills jersey at home, though, if you could.
No, wear my Yankee stuff. I'll wear a cutoff shirt.
I love it. I love it. Eli, is that it? Is that all
That's
we got?
it. That's a wrap, man. That's a wrap. This was a
Thank
You
you.
said a buckshot of a podcast.
It was
'cause
a
I love
banger,
it.
though.
This was a good one.
This was
fun.
Ramblings of a Madman podcast.
That,
Oh, good
that's
stuff.
that would be a good name for a podcast,
I'm
bro.
just throwing it out there. You know?
It's such a bittersweet time of year too, because like the NFL, like when the summer ends, the NFL's starting. I love football and college football starting. You know, so you're like, all right, that's the silver lining to the summer ending. And then now it's like Christmas is over, and now we're getting to the play. Then it's almost over. It's like, oh, you got to savor it.
Pitcher
Gotta savor it.
season is over. You got to find something to do now. You know?
I got one more question then before the college football is coming up too. We haven't seen the college football championship, Michigan and Washington. So
That's right.
we get to do our predictions
The
for
Natty.
that one
It's
too.
tonight.
Right? That's tonight.
It's tonight.
That's tonight.
when we're recording, so you can check us on these predictions
What's your pick?
I'm gonna go Washington. I'd love to see it happen.
Me too. Washington.
with the points or straight up.
What's the number? I don't even know
They're
what the
getting,
number
they're getting
is.
like 4 or 5.
Yeah, with the point. No, they're gonna go straight up. They're gonna win straight up. They're gonna beat them straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't follow college football. I really don't at all.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to take a pass on this one.
Well, I like Washington too, which is it's strange to me that they're getting points. I feel like it's evenly matched, but it's just not as many people know Washington. Michigan,
That's
as
what it
Harbaugh
is.
said, they're
Yeah.
America's team. Whatever, everybody knows Michigan. People, east of Denver, just starting to
Harbaugh,
learn.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, starting to learn about Washington, but that Penix, however you say his name.
Yeah.
was that?
Penix, and I think they're
Ooh,
done.
he's unbelievable.
They're leaving their conference this year too, right?
Yeah, they're coming to the
12.
Big Ten.
Yeah, so that's pretty wild that team would be in the
What are they
championship
now?
this year.
Pac-12?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
The Pac-12 because USC's going, UCLA.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's completely dissolving, but
I'm pretty sure it is.
it's just going to be over. This is weird, yeah. It'll all come down to they're all going to eventually become Bank of America. That's how this works. Just one organization. BlackRock.
Well,
will buy
everything.
all
yeah,
BlackRock
college
Stadium?
football. So
BlackRock everything.
Yeah, absolutely. All good. Well, Eli, you killed the intro. Why don't you kill the outro, buddy?
Well, I appreciate it, TG. Well, thanks guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Talking Lots. We will catch you next time. Peace. That's it. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.